Welcome back. This is April, and this time we're going to do stitch lettering. We are going to go to Etsy, and this is going to be the dash brush I used by Lucid Pen. So if you want to purchase that, if not, if you already have a dash brush, you can use that as well. Okay, so now we're going to go into Procreate, and we're going to start a new canvas. And I'm going to turn on the drawing guide. Here you'll see there's several different colors you can use for your drawing guide, whatever looks best for you. You can change the grid size. I usually go with a Tiffany blue greenish color. And apparently I made it white, so let's go back and make it the bluish green color. There we go. Okay, so now we are going to go to calligraphy in your brushes, and there is a called brush pen. So I have duplicated this now, and I'm going to name it cloth. And then we're going to play with the settings a little. We're going to change the grain here. And I'm just going to sort through and kind of select something that maybe looks kind of like cloth. It takes a lot of trial and error to get exactly what you want. Most of the time I use a brush called Mermaid. But I didn't want you to have to buy multiple brushes, so I'm trying to use something that we can just use in Procreate. That's already there. So now we have the settings how we want. I am gonna play around with it and start adjusting some of the settings to get exactly the size that I want. Now this is very pretty, however it does have very thin thins, you know, thick and thin. So the thins are very small. So I had to keep writing it out because it was so pretty. However, we are going to now erase it. And we're going to mess with the settings here. All right, so first off, we're going to go to General. And I'm going to change the minimum up to meet the max a little bit so that the thins are a little thicker. If this doesn't make sense, I'm sorry. All right, so that looks good. I like how the transition part of it is a little thinner, so it actually looks like it kind of turned a little. So now I am going to adjust the jitter so that it looks not so fluid and kind of looks sort of like torn cloth is what I'm going for. I think that looks much better. Okay, so I didn't adjust the opacity and it's kind of light. So I'm going to duplicate that layer to make it a little darker. And then I'm going to merge them down. Okay, so now I am going to duplicate that layer. And I'm going to select black, and then I am going to select the back layer and fill the layer. So that'll be our basic black back shadow. Alright, so now I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to go to select my Lucid Pen Dash Brush. And I had created something previously, so I had changed the grain, so I'm going to change it again back to the solid, which is the way it comes when you purchase it. Alright, so now that we have it solid, we are going to put our stitches in on the letters. So the way that I like to start this is, of course, I turn it to where I can see better. And then you are going to trace around the main part, which is the thickest part of the letter. And that's the part we're gonna, kind of close off. The thinner parts is just gonna be one single stroke. So that the thick part will look like it is on top and the thin parts are going behind it. This is the way that I like to do it. You are more than welcome to change it up the way that you feel that you like it better. And one way that I've figured out, if you lift your pen and you're not continuously going, if you put your pencil on the very last stroke, just like I did just now, it will kind of continue your pattern so that it doesn't look like you messed up. That takes a little practice trying to figure out exactly where that spot is. But once you find it, it'll save you a lot of time. All right, so we're finishing off our H. Chunking out our little part here, and then we're going to finish off with a single stroke for the rest. Okay, if you're anything like me, then you realized once you go to your layers that you put that on top of your color. So I'm going to have to erase all this. Please tell me in the comments that I'm not the first person that does this. I'm not the only one, correct? Okay, so let's restitch it. And again, you're gonna do your thicks. Feel free to fast forward a little bit if you want to. Okay, now we're finishing it off again. I'm so sorry if y'all can hear my dogs barking in the background. I try to edit out as much as I can, but they just will not shut up today. So, looks good. So now we're going to go to the layer palette and we are going to duplicate. And then we're going to hide that layer. I do this because I edit on top of this layer, and in case I mess up, you have that backup. So I turn the alpha lock on, and now I am going to change my brush to the soft airbrush. And I've selected a darker gray color. And what we're going to do here is, again, trial and error to get how you like it. I lower the opacity a lot. And what I'm trying to do is make a little shadow to where the stitch looks like it goes behind the main stitch. So sometimes this takes a little bit for me to get the look that I'm actually going for. So you just need to play around with it. So you'll see me go back and forth, trying to change the color. Because if you do this in a different color, it's gonna look different. So every time I do it, it looks a little different. So if you want to fast forward a couple seconds, that's fine. If not, feel free to watch it. There is some erasing that I do, but that's just because I want it to look right. And be sure to comment and let me know if you like these tutorials, if you have any suggestions of what you might want me to do next. And you can see here I messed up and deleted it, but I didn't realize it, so then I went back and fixed it. So here we go again. I think this might be what I like. And also, who was watching today on the group and realized that I deleted all my artwork? Please tell me someone else has done this as well. Okay, so as we keep going now, I guess this is about where I like it because I'm halfway through. This again, it doesn't have to be super dark. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. I just like it to look like it's a little darker there because we're trying to add some dimension to this flat letters. Now I'm just going in and adding a smaller, higher opacity line just in between the breaks of the letters. It's so small. If you can't see it, I'm around the T. Now I'm on the last T. All right, so now I am gonna go to the top layer where I had the stitches and duplicate them several times so that they are darker. And the back one, I am going to use the blur. I do that one a lot. I do the middle one a little bit. Now I created a new layer and we're going to choose white and use the soft airbrush, and we are going to highlight the letters in the main part of the chunky part of the letter. And what I do is I do a little more pressure at top and then do it a little less pressure at the bottom, because the top is where we're gonna, where the light is supposed to be hitting it. You can see I kind of get lighter on the tail ends. so we are finishing this up. There we go. Okay, I just can't get it right. Okay, so now we are gonna do the blur to that one. And the blur I use all the time is the Gaussian blur. And you can just adjust that how you like it. And then what I do is I am going to create another layer because I'm going to add a little more highlight at the very, very top. And again, a little harder pressure and then go to light, just so that it fades out. All right, so now I am going to turn the background layer off just to kind of see what it looks like, because you're able to see it better once you have that background off. And if you're happy with it, then we're going to turn it back on. And now we are going to work with the back layers, which we filled to black earlier. However, if you're looking at it, you can see that it's not fully black. So I am going to duplicate it because we need 2 black layers. And I am going to blur the back layer a little bit. And then now I realize that it's not quite dark enough. So I'm going to choose the black, and I'm going to use my brush and just fill in that black layer. I know you can't see it. If you want to hide this top layer, if that's easier for you, you can do that as well. But you can see that it is darker. So now I'm going to turn the alpha lock off. And now I'm going to blur it. And again, this is a preference. You do not have to do this, or you can. I do it because, again, it adds a little dimension. And just play around with it till you get what you want. Now for this layer, I'm going to blur just a tiny bit, and I'm going to drop it. Now you can see this is really dark, so I'm going to adjust the opacity. And there you go, that looks much better. All right. Just moving it around till I get exactly where I want it. And you can put it anywhere you really want. Most, like 98% of the time, choose it right here, drop shadow to the right. That's just my thing. So again, turn off the background layer just to see it. You can't really see the shadows, but you can definitely see what it'll look like on a black planner, which is awesome. All right, so now I'm just gonna play with a couple of these layers to see what it looks like without, say, the black layer, or the second pink layer. And of course, this is a preference. If you find something you like better than what you just created, just leave that one off. So I think it is really pretty as it is, but I did duplicate the pink layer so that it is more pink and vibrant. And then we are going to go to share and save as PNG and save your image. And that is it. So I hope you enjoyed watching this stitch lettering tutorial. Please subscribe and like.